Please note that we will not open attendees' audio or video lines during our live session today, though we do very much welcome your questions and comments. You may submit questions or comments in a couple of different ways. One is you can enter them into the small chat window that you'll see just below the video display on your screen. In fact, it might be easiest to pop that small chat window out. You'll have that opportunity when you click on it. A second way to send those to us is to simply email them to us at support@salesmanagement.org. And we'll be monitoring both the website and our support inbox to get your questions and comments. We'll remind you of that address during the presentation today. Also, as a reminder, we're recording today's session. We'll make a playback, an archive available for playback in our resource library, and our members will also be able to download slides there. Today's session is one in a series of web-based Sales Management Association presentations that feature practitioners and thought leaders in the field of Salesforce effectiveness. The Sales Management Association is a professional association for sales operations, sales enablement, and sales leadership professions. We provide our members with research, case studies, training, peer networking, and professional development. If you're joining us for the first time, we invite you to consider membership in the association. And while you're with us today, feel free to take a look around our website. You'll find lots of really excellent content there. I'm Bob Kelly, Sales Management Association Chairman. Today, it's my great pleasure to introduce an excellent speaker, Lauren Bailey from Factor 8. Lauren Bailey is founder and president at Factor 8, a sales and sales management training company focused on virtual selling. She is the founder of two other successful brands, the Sales Bar, an online sales training platform, and Girls Club, a program designed to elevate women sales leaders through training and mentorship. Lauren was previously global director of training at SAP and an independent training consultant before founding Factor 8. Thank you, Lauren Bailey, for being with us, and welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Bob. It's fantastic.
Excellent.
You know, there's been so many times I think back to my first few years in sales management and how painful it was and how alone I felt. And if only your organization existed then. So thank you for everything you do.
Well, thank you so much for helping solve that problem. And we're looking forward to your presentation. I'll let you have the floor.
Thank you ever so much. Are you ready, everybody? We're going deep today. We're talking about mastering your management meetings. At Factor 8, we call this the management cadence. And it's sort of like the idea of a sales process is for sales reps. The management cadence is for sales managers. Now, I am going to go really deep on a lot of this. You'll be inundated with some data. And for that, you're both welcome and I'm sorry. To help keep it straight, there is a guide that you can take notes in. You'll find that just above where I'm streaming on the website, and you also see it here in yellow. You can get a download there and follow along and take notes about all of these different meetings. You'll also see that I'm going to offer you a super discounted opportunity to dive in and take the training on this topic. So sometimes it's tough, my enablement folks, you all know, right? Presentation isn't the same as training. So I'm going as far as the presentation will let me with content, but training always makes it better. So 10-second credibility notice. Yes, my name's Lauren, and I've been in sales management and sales training and enablement for over 20 years. I do remember being a brand new sales manager and buying reading glasses so that I would look older because I was like 23 and the youngest person on my team. And now I need them. So joke's on me, right? I started my companies to help solve for the gaps I felt when I was in your shoes. Those first 2 years of sales management were some of the most difficult in my life. I think y'all have the very busiest job in the entire world. And so let's just jump right in and see how we can solve that, right? Does anybody else feel like this is your relationship with your job in sales management? This is our why, right? especially now with most people being virtual. We say that we work at home, but the truth is we live at work. It's just really, really hard to stop and to not be inundated. What I find looking back on this time was that my issue, the reason it felt so icky, technical word, was that I was always being reactive, right? It was constantly reacting to what everybody else wanted. And I never got to the stuff that I wanted to do during the day, which meant I would go in earlier before everybody bothered me and stay later. And that's kind of also a recipe for success. I read recently, I think it was CEB who did the study that said 60% of new sales managers fail in the first year. And I think that grapple with the massive to-do list and the inability to get proactive is a really big part of that. And that's what we're going to help solve for here today. We're also going to solve for this. Does it not sometimes feel like getting control of not just your day, but your team is like nailing Jello to the wall? You can't control all the issues, all the challenges, all the stupid rep stuff, all the customer fires, your boss. You just can't. And that's tough. Our personalities as drivers and ambitious and competitive sellers is to be in control of what's going on. And as we get that promotion, we give it up. But there's one thing you can control. Believe it or not, your time. Even though it feels like it's getting away from you. Somebody told me a few years ago as I was wang about not having enough time, they said, you know what, LB, your calendar didn't come preloaded. And I thought, damn, that's pretty good. This is an extremely important skill because if you haven't realized it yet, you will shortly, that your time is more valuable than your money. That's why it cracks me up when we have SDRs who call. They're like, can I just get 30 minutes of your time? I'm like, I would rather give you $300. Leave me alone. No, you don't get it. So I'm going to teach you some tricks to protect your time like it's Fort freaking Knox, because I think that's the path forward to survive and thrive in this role of sales leadership, right? I want you to ask yourself right now, what would you do if you had an extra 90 minutes every day? I know you think I'm nuts right now, right? I'm dreaming if you're going to get that. Just, would you go to the gym? Would you eat lunch? Would you coach? Would you do some strategy? Would you do the stuff you got into sales management to do? So that is our goal. Organized people get ahead. You've organized emails, you've organized notes, you've organized music and Hulu binges. Now we're going to organize your rep interactions, okay? This means when you're working with your team, when we have a regular schedule of our essential touches, our essential manager meetings, then all the incoming stuff that comes gets delegated to the meetings. It gets put into a file drawer or in a meeting. What does that do? It frees you up to then get proactive with the rest of your time, okay? This is a course that was specifically created for busy sales managers, and we combine this with our sales management specific time management course in Own Your Day, and we offer you a chance to dive into that at the Bootcamp at the end, and you're going to want to take advantage of it. Here we go. I'm going to start. There are 8 essential manager meetings, and we're going to spend a couple minutes on each one of them. And the fun part is that I'm going to start with what your rep says to you that prompts the need for this meeting. I'm sure you've seen this before, right? Hey, how did I do on the contest? How many points did I get? Am I in first? What place am I in? If you're running a contest, you get about 300 of those over the period of the contest, right? Even if you've got a dashboard, even if you've got gamification and reporting, it's more fun to interrupt you and get that instant gratification because all good reps need that. Where do we put this? We're going to push that into a sales huddle. Many of you are already doing these. If you're not, here's what a sales huddle's purpose is. If you're doing them already, the notes you want to take right now are other stuff you can cover in your sales huddle because they can get dry fast. Okay? What does a sales huddle do? Boom, sets my focus for the day. Guys, today we're outbound calling on this campaign. Guys, today our goal is to get 20 more quotes out. Guys, today our whatever it is, okay? We can answer questions on the different campaigns. I love to share a success story. Of course, we're there to get people pumped up, roll out contests, share the rankings, congratulations. So when somebody's coming, do you say, am I first? I'm first? hey, let's talk about it in the huddle in the morning. Sorry, wait for the huddle. Okay. I love the opportunity here to also share best practices, work on skills, award contests. Okay. The sales huddle should be short. Okay. What you're looking for here is standing room only. Don't book a meeting room. Don't let anybody sit down. Okay. Keep the energy high. We're talking 15 minutes or less. Change up your focus so people are looking forward to it. If you've got a new team, you're going to want to go more often, right? Maybe it's every day when you've got a lot of newbies on your team. When you've got a huge tenured team, maybe it's twice a week. But resist the opportunity to say, oh, they know what they're doing. They don't need it. Okay. It's a competitive sport we're in, and we don't really have a crowd that claps for us. So we clap for each other, and we do it in the huddle. When I say here to rotate leaders, what I'm talking about is you don't have to be in charge every time. Mix it up. Let the new kid come and bring X, Y, and Z. Let the tenured person award the contest. Put a committee together who rolls it out. All right, this is their chance to shine a little bit in a safe place, but it's also your opportunity to create energy and teamwork and that bonding that needs to happen to keep our young sellers in sales. If you're an enablement person watching this and you're not seeing morning huddles, right, talk with your team about that because you bet they can be virtual as well. We're going to move on to the next one. Rep says, how does he always get first place, right? Are mine from Friday in there? I swear I had 6. Does this count the so-and-sos? And how many quotes am I at? And where do I stand is what's happening here. What a great thing to cover in a performance one-on-one meeting. I bet most of you are doing this one already. Performance one-on-one meetings are where we review the metrics. Here's what's going on, right? We're measuring talk time, we're measuring connects, we're measuring this, we're measuring that. Here's how you did this period. Often for us, it's a month, right? And here's how you ranked. Here's how you stand. Here's how you improved over last month. Let's take a look at where you landed. Let's look at the results. Let me answer your questions on commissions because I know you kept your own spreadsheet. All right. Let's look how you did against the goals and against what we talked about last month. You might use this time to address any performance issues or behavior issues. If you've got to do a write-up, unless it's something that is critical, like I came to work in a bikini top, that you have to do immediately, you save it if it's performance-based for this meeting. You might have to address issues. You could be answering company questions, looking at goals for next month, and discussing progress and skills and gaps. What I want to urge is that you resist the temptation to make this a 15-minute meeting where you say, yep, you landed in second, goals the same, good luck. Okay? A performance one-on-one meeting is an opportunity for you two to build a relationship because it is a private one-on-one meeting. So let me get some of those details up on the board for you guys here, right? This is one-on-one. It's in a private setting. We're typically doing it at the first period of the month, right? The first week of the month. Look at last month, set the goals for this month. 30 minutes minimum, 60 is better. Go beyond the numbers is what I'm asking you to do here, okay? Resist it being just about their performance and get to know the human being and talk about where they want to be and how things are going. Millennials especially crave the connection with their leaders, and this is your chance to build that relationship. If you're in an office, do whatever lunch every once in a while. Grab coffee, whatever you need to do. Here we go. We're going to meeting number 3. Rep says, oh my God, wait until I tell you about this call. Do you remember this ABC company? You know that one guy? You hear about these calls a lot, right? Especially your top reps because, oh, they need to be pet. Bring it to the call coaching. Yes, call coaching should be a separate meeting. Absolutely. Here's what we do. We listen to recorded calls or live calls if we need to. We schedule a time where I'm going to join a call and coach afterwards. We review grades or QA scores. Now, the people who are doing this great have a system in place, and the rep and the manager are both listening to a call. They both scored the call. Then they come together to talk about those skills. Folks, IMing a rep while you're live listening to their call, that's not call coaching. Done a whole series with Bob out here about what makes good call coaching and how to create a coaching culture for my enablement people and my leaders, which is critical. The point of a call coaching session is not about performance. It's not about behavior. You are discussing and practicing new skills. If you're doing it well, they've already been taught these new skills. That's our enablement department's job. That's our training vendor's job. That's new hire training. Unfortunately, all too often, you're having to teach and coach at the same time, and it's less effective. So if you can, let's work on a skill for a month. And then in all your call coaching sessions, you're giving them one-on-one feedback on their ability to execute that skill. You can also spend it strategizing on tricky calls or situations. Well, what happens when I get a gatekeeper like this? Or what happens when I get blown off like that? Most importantly, in call coaching sessions, our goal is to encourage and share our wisdom. Chances are you came up through the ranks, right? There's this fine balance between, here's how you do it. Listen to me. I'll just take over because my way is best. And you should have seen me play high school football. And opposite is, gee, you're on your own, right? So offer suggestions, talk in questions, help them improve their sales skills. What an opportunity. This is why most of us got into it. Unfortunately, sales call coaching is the number one thing that usually falls off our list. Okay. You can demonstrate your techniques. You can share, help them get better. Chart their progress and set goals. That's a way to take it next level. Most people don't. Okay. How often do these happen? What's this look like in the logistics? I still call it call coaching if I have up to 3 people in the room. Anything more than that, it's training. The difference is that somebody has to walk out with individual feedback. Okay. So if I've got 3 people in the room and all we did was listen to one person's call, and these other 2 people took no notes about how they implement it, it's a training. Okay. You can go from 1 per week to 1 per month based on their level. You can check out my other call coaching webinar about how to make that decision. Some of my reps, I let other reps coach them. Some get coached once a week. Some I touch once a month. The call coaching session is anywhere from 15 minutes to 60 minutes. Longer ones are typically when you don't have recording and you're going to live join a call and then talk about it afterwards. The most important thing here too is that you've got to track progress. If you don't have a QA form, at the very least, take some notes. Even better, have your rep take the notes and keep track of what you're working on and what his or her action items are when they come to the next meeting. Okay, I'm going to listen in on these calls, or I'm going to practice using the better introduction, and I'll bring a recording of me doing so that we can listen to in our next meeting. Final tip is you don't have to find something wrong. If you're avoiding call coaching with your top reps because they're your top reps, what a missed opportunity to go in and add a boy, add a girl. Wow, you're amazing. Learn tips to teach other people. They need to be stroked as well, and call coaching is where you can do that. Here we go. We're going to move on. I just had the best call. This guy is definitely going to book. I picked these because I know you've heard them before, right? That belongs in the pipeline meeting. A pipeline meeting is where we're forecasting the numbers for the period. We're reviewing the deals that have been won and where we stand against our number. It's our chance to dig into deals that might be stuck and to group finalize the team commit. What are you calling? What are we going to hit? What's our number? Because I know you've got to call it to your boss. We're going to look at each of the pipe stages and how we're converting. Let's look at the metrics. Let's look at those leading indicators, not just revenue, right? What's our conversion percentage from assessment or discovery into qualification, into assessment, and that into proposal? Whatever your stages are, look at those percentages together. Look how the different members of the team stack up in those percentages. Where are the strengths and where are we struggling? And if you don't have that reporting, go talk to somebody and get it. This is where you're going to know, here's what we've got to do to hit goal. I'm going to need to adjust some expectations. Then finally, we talked a little bit already about reviewing helpful trends, but sharing strategies is such a great thing to do in this meeting, right? When we're doing it as a group, and let me be clear, I highly recommend doing pipeline as a group. Far too many folks are meeting with people one-on-one. What's your number? What's your number? What's your number? And it's a really good approach for a newbie who's scared to death, but you're babying them a little bit and you're killing your day. If you pull everybody together into a larger meeting, which you have to control very, very carefully, and each are calling their number, right? Now there's some tension in the room. Jane, you're calling 20 grand under quota. What's going on? Jane does not want to show up to the next meeting having to do that. And that tension can help you, right? We want to fall short of belittling, but at the same time, above babying. Some of the ways to keep that meeting running quickly is don't let anybody tell the damn story. Oh, this one lead and this one guy, as soon as they start down the one time at band camp stories, you got to cut it off. It's a numbers only discussion. Cool? Go with the big picture. Don't talk deal by deal unless you ask them to drill into a deal. This meeting is going to take some special prep, as you can imagine. But whoo, when it runs tightly, you're welcome. Everybody's on point and you get time back in your day. The key is that every person's making their commit. And when Jane falls short, that's how you know it's time to book the next type of meeting, a sales strategy meeting. Now, this could be a deal strategy because Jane just has to close ABC company to win. This could be an account strategy because her whole book is IBM and trying to penetrate into that, right? It could be a lead strategy because she's a cold caller and she's got to get 20 more leads and get something in the pipe fast, right? You'll know what kind of strategy it is based on what kind of business you have. Finally, you're going to want to run this meeting about halfway through the period, right? Weeks 2 or 3, where you've got something booked, right? But you still have time to make some fixes if you're not all the way there. I recommend about weekly going forward. Cool? All right, we're going to move on to the next kind of meeting. See if you've ever heard this before. Boss, I seriously need some leads. Everything you gave me was awful. Now, come on, a rep never complains about leads. What are we talking about, right? So we're talking here about the sales strategy meetings. And my example was a lead strategy meeting. But this is where you're going to come in and look at the deals and the trends, okay? And it's all about a strategy. How are we going to close it? How are we going to unstick it? What's our plan of attack maybe to penetrate? Do I need to set a new daily goal? Do we need to change what's happening in activity? Let's dig into this account and see how well you know it. Maybe I need to dig into your top 10 accounts and see how well you're treating them. This is where you get, oh boy, our class goes deep on this. All different strategies you can use because we only have so many levers we can pull. When we're working with lead lists, it's these 5 levers. Accounts, it's these 5 levers. Territories, it's these 5 levers. That's why it's fun to pull other people into these with you, top reps, to share strategies that have worked with them before. You might be digging into the contacts and how many people they're touching. You might be digging into the touches themselves. These are just 10 quick examples of what you might cover. So let's talk about how these meetings are organized. First of all, you can go into larger groups. Like I said, pull in some top reps, but they're booked as needed. You don't necessarily have to pre-plan a deal strategy meeting. You do it with Jane when she's short on the number. Pardon me. You might be looking at deals, but if you're quarterly, you might be doing a territory review or an account review. So if your top reps, if you're more senior folks who are maybe managing territories at this stage, aren't having any trouble in the pipeline, it's still a good practice, at least twice a year, to do a territory review. Have them come present their book of business to you. Look at how often they're touching all of their accounts. Are they taking orders from their top 20% and ignoring their bottom 20%? Not that anybody's ever done that before, okay? The strategy meetings typically follow the pipeline meetings. They can be 15 minutes working sessions, like just pop into the Zoom meeting and let's chat about it. You might just say, hey, Bob, work with Jane. Let me know how it goes, right? Or it could be on the floor and you'll be like, hey, Bob, join us. We're going to dig into this for a minute. Typically, you're going to see these happening in weeks 3 and 4 of the month. We're trying to pull out the number. Again, you're going to adjust that if your period's different than a month. Okay, on to our next meeting. Getting questions from reps. When does that new girl start? What's this crap about testing? And how long until the new release of the product? Hey, everybody, good questions. Bring those to the team meeting. That's where you push these, okay? In a team meeting, we're reviewing training skills, my favorite thing to do, of course. You're doing team announcements, company announcements, product rollouts. I love bringing in customer success stories, answering product questions, talking about policies, congratulations, and celebrating things that are happening, talking about new campaigns, doing team building exercises. I find I have trouble pulling things out of team meetings so they're not 2 hours long versus pulling things in. Again, you can have people cover these for you and give other reps a chance to shine, especially those who are interested in getting into management. Obviously, these are group. They happen monthly or quarterly. My team's a little more tenured now, so I've pushed them to quarterly. The most important thing I can tell you about team meetings is that 3/4 of the time, somebody's bored because it doesn't pertain to them. So do everything you can to put things into the rep point of view. If you have to take a company announcement and change how it's being communicated so that you're talking about how it impacts them, take the time to do it. If you're having different departments do updates, help them ahead of time see what somebody cares about. Try to keep folks engaged and looking forward to these team meetings. Try to keep it fun. Try to help them bond with each other. Now, you may have noticed, let me put the rest of this up, that throughout this, a thread you're hearing from me is trying to engage our reps. It's because I'm very aware, as I'm sure you are, of the hiring crisis that's happening. We're having trouble filling our spots. We're having trouble keeping good salespeople. Your job is to bond them to you, to their team members, to the team, and to the company as quickly as possible. And these meetings, these interactions are your opportunities to do that. So I keep talking about switching it up and having fun and doing team building and letting other people shine. All right, a couple other ideas here. Like I said, strive for the interaction, do more often meetings for newer teams, do more team building for remote teams. All right, we're almost done here. Here's the next rep question. Hey, what do I have to do around here to get promoted? We push that into a quarterly career review. Now, this is a tip you might not have heard before. We do monthly one-on-ones. I like to appropriate one of those every quarter to talk about just the rep and their development. Here's some things that you might discuss. Let's deeper dive into the performance trends. Last quarter, we said we were going to work on blank. How are we doing? Let's talk about career goals and make a plan to get there. Okay? You're looking at going from SDR to AE. All right, well, let's break down some of those skills. And let's talk about what we're going to work on first to get there. We might be doing shadowing. You might be giving detailed feedback. Like, listen, you want to do that, but the only way you're going to survive as an AE is if you get a little bit more comfortable asking those closing questions. Obviously, I just made that up. But then we create a training plan, a coaching plan to help them achieve their goals. Career advancement and development are two of the top 3 things that millennials are looking for in their jobs today. In essence, this quarterly review is taking an annual review and splitting it into quarters. If you have a company that requires annual reviews, you hate annual review, period. Let me just say that with confidence. We all do. But sometimes it's because we're like, crap, I don't even remember last week. I don't know what they were doing 9 months ago. Well, the quarterly review does it for you. So if you have an annual review form, just do it once a quarter, man. Then you take an average or however you want to aggregate that at the end of the year. Mentoring and shadowing is a great thing to discuss here. Output can be an individual training plan. Maybe it's for a year, maybe it's for a quarter. The key is to help the rep understand where they can find development, resources, access to that career growth, and then let them own it, okay? You are the wise sage offering advice. They should be taking all the action items. We're answering career path questions. And I mean, once again, your job here is to show interest and to encourage. I think you'd be fabulous in management one day. Let me talk to you about the path that we usually take. Let me introduce you to a couple people to make it happen. Here's what we're going to work on first. All right, a couple more details about how these meetings happen. Obviously, they're private. It's usually an hour. If you're already doing an hour for performance one-on-ones, maybe once a quarter, it's 90 minutes, and you do lunch and talk about the career, right? Use that annual review as a guide. Woo, tough one. Strive for equal talking time. I just said that you are a wise sage, but you want them to be talking about their career. Our goal is to open them up and get them invested in building a career with us and at this company. And it's not going to happen if we're talking at them, right? We're going to talk in questions and use that coaching style. We're asking about career goals. We want to document plans and goals and improvement areas. right? And then thank yourself that you've done this quarterly when annual review comes up. Here we go. So how is it that Chase is the topper? How does he always book the meetings? What's his secret? You got it. It's a team training. This is where you're going to answer questions about how do I? It's where you play great calls for everybody to learn from together. This is where you bring in a trainer. Track your top skill needs and then partner with your enablement department to bring somebody in and give that to your team. Can you do peer training too? Absolutely. I highly recommend that you mix it up. I highly recommend that you don't try to do both. And I know that we wind up there a lot of times, managers. Talking to you. I love you so much, but you know who you are. I know because I did it too. Nobody taught them how to leave a great voicemail. I did it for 3 years. Let me teach them mine. Now let me coach them on mine. And now here's the next one. Let me teach them this and let me coach them. If you have to do the hiring and the onboarding, the training and the coaching, you'll never get home from work on time. Find help. Partner with your enablement department. Get a budget. Use other peers, other managers, top reps on your team. Okay. What you want to go for here is interactivity in the training. Now, enablement people, please don't cry when I talk about this, but here's the truth of it. Most sales managers, most sales leaders think they're awesome trainers. I've met very few who actually are. Now, surely not you. Yeah, we struggle with that. It's really, really tough. The biggest difference is that a great training is actually a facilitation where the audience talks more than the sage on stage. And that's really, really tough for competitive, awesome sales leaders to do. So my tip to you is if you're doing peer training or doing your own training and not bringing in a professional, strive for interaction. So enablement, folks, I know I just boiled down all adult learning theory into one word. It's tough to hear. I agree. But here's something else you can try. Pre-work and homework. As much as you can get the rep owning their own development, the better. And of course, applaud improvement. I use that phrase on purpose. There's probably no more consistent way to create a coaching and learning culture. Why do you care about that? Because if you have a performance only culture instead of a learning and growth culture, then somebody always fails. If I didn't win the contest, I fail. If I didn't come in first, I fail. But and it's cool to have that. People need to compete. I love a stack ranking. But when you as a leader applaud improvement, you're helping instill a growth mindset. I've not met a rep, even with 10 years of experience, who didn't have a place and an opportunity to improve, right? But if we're not constantly learning and training and applauding the improvement, we're setting ourselves up for failure. Now we're going to hide the failures and feel like a failure. And that is a fast ticket out of sales, folks. People stay in jobs where they feel successful. So help them feel successful. Nobody comes in knowing it all. All right, a couple other things about team training. Obviously, this is a group meeting. I say monthly or quarterly. I highly recommend a theme. Hey, we're working on middle of the funnel. We're working on bottom of the funnel, whatever it may be. This could be based on trends that you're seeing in the business. It could be because you're practicing the skills that y'all brought a trainer in to do, okay? It's not a one and done thing. In fact, we switched our strategy as a company to not doing event-based training anymore because you've got to teach it and you've got to use it and you've got to coach it and you've got to keep it alive. So if somebody hires us to come in and do training on prospecting, then we're going to work for months on prospecting. That's the theme of the quarter. And I expect the managers during their team trainings to be practicing that and during their coaching to be coaching that and to be focusing on it in a contest. That's how you move behavior. Not I heard it once and now suddenly I'm an expert. All right. The team training, of course, is where you're creating culture. And that's so important. Woo! I need water. Do you guys? That was a lot. We've just gone through 8 meetings. And here we go. We're going to name that meeting Family Feud style. What is it when you have a one-on-one small group session focused on improving the quality of calls or their skills. Call coaching is the answer. This is a very brief and regular team meeting to provide a focus for a day or a week or a period. I bet you know. Do you know? It's a sales huddle. A 30 to 60-minute meeting with the team to communicate team and company updates. Dive deep into stuff that isn't urgent. Team meeting. A group or one-on-one session to review deals and forecast sales results. Forecast is the key in that one. It's your pipeline meeting. What's the strategy meeting you have to achieve the sales goal? Well, that one, let's give it away, right? It's the sales strategy meeting. You can call it account strategy, deal strategy, lead strategy, territory strategy, whatever is your bag. Number 6, a one-on-one meeting to review performance and set the goals for next month. Of course, you know, this is the easy one, right? Performance one-on-one meetings. 2 left, group meeting focused on learning and practicing new skills. Team training. A formal one-on-one to discuss performance and career path. It rolls up to an annual review. The quarterly review. All right. So these are all put out. I give these to you as gifts, as places to store the requests that come to you. And in a minute, we're going to talk about how to push those requests off into these meetings. But it has to start by building the file cabinets, right? Then we start pushing the folders into the cabinets. But it does need to go both ways. It's not just for what comes in reactively. We have to pause and talk about what ideas we have and where to push them. So I just have 2 quick examples here. Here's a sales manager, and she's thinking, oh, I really got to work on this, right? I got to change the narrative. Everybody hates this new executive. Everybody's griping about it. My leader is just red hot about towing the company line. I can right then send an email. I can call a meeting. I can Slack each person. I can pick up the phone, right? Or I can pause and say, oh, that belongs in Family Feud style. Name that meeting. That belongs in a team meeting. We've got everybody together. We're talking about what's happening in the company. Hold it, right? I recommend a super high-tech effort. You put this in the folder of your team meeting or in your email notes or wherever it is, but you collect things you want to discuss in the team meeting throughout the month. All right, let's do one more. Name that meeting. Jonathan's never selling services. I swear he's 90% hardware. I want to help him offer more services so he can increase his margins for his commission check and my KPI on margins. How are we going to fix this? It's a one-off performance improvement opportunity. It could wait for your performance one-on-one, but I chose sales strategy. We're digging in to how to do better on deals. It might be both. All right. To make sure that these meetings go well, we've got to do our prep, okay? If people are showing up to the meeting without what they need for the meeting, all of this work you're going to do to put it together is going to backfire. It's a decent amount of prep, you guys, if you don't have this set up before, but it is the holy grail. I swear it's worth it. So I just have a couple examples for you here, okay? Your job is to go through each one of these meetings and say, what do I need to bring? What does my rep need to bring? So that we are on point and ready to make the most of this time. As soon as we're showing up unprepared, the wheels come off the bus and it all goes reactive again. So here, performance one-on-one meetings. What might you need to bring? Now the list is long, okay? You're going to pick what it might be for your team. What I've put up here is asking your rep to bring their personal goals, asking them to bring a self-assessment of their performance. You might bring stacked rankings on all the metrics and their adjusted targets for next period, because you know, things do move sometimes. You could bring all kinds of things to this meeting, right? But most important is knowing where they stand and how they feel about where they stand and what they need to do next month. Remember, you should not be doing all the prep for these meetings. The rep needs to come with a minimum of half of the prep. And if that means they need to go pull the stack rankings for you, so be it. All right, here's one more example for you. A deal strategy. I might say, obviously this is going to change my strategy, right? But I might say, hey, I need you to bring your lead list and go ahead and sort it by revenue or touches or whatever it is you're going to talk about. I need you to bring me your cadence. How often are you touching and how, right? Go find me the history on this. I might bring what I see as potential root causes and solutions. Well, the reason you're struggling could be blank. I might bring an audit that says, I've actually looked through your book and I see that you've only touched your leads twice and didn't even leave voicemails. So no, you don't get new leads, whatever the case may be, right? So what's the homework that needs to be done before each meeting? Make sure you're noting that and doing the prep. The great news is, guys, you're going to prep hard for a month or two, and then it's just going to be duck off a water's back. Strike that, reverse it, water off a duck's back. That was a Willy Wonka if you didn't catch it. All right. We are coming into the home stretch. A couple other tips and tricks about how to execute your essential manager meetings. The first one is document. If you don't, you're going to get the hamster wheel. What's the hamster wheel? Where you talk about the same damn thing every single month with the rep. Okay. This is how reps that don't belong on your team or in sales stay too long. There are choices for documentation, my friends. Some people have coaching systems like Ambition. I love that tool. It's gamification and a coaching system all in one. Some people keep a paper file with their super high-tech Post-it notes. That's me, old school. Other folks are basically keeping paper electronic files. You just send an email after every meeting, copying the rep and yourself, and then drag it into the rep folder. That simple. What do you need to document? Let's look at this. They always need a date. Okay, this is why email's great, because it does it for you. What the meeting was, the discussion points. Most importantly, it's the agreements, the action items, and the reps agreement. The easiest way to do this is have the reps on the notes. Or at the end of our deal strategy meeting, great, I want you to email me as soon as you get back to your desk what we decided, what you agreed to, and when it's going to be done. We just got done with a performance one-on-one. Loved this meeting. I want you to send me an email when you get back to your desk, please. What are the agreement points? And what are the timelines on each of those? Right? And then boom, you've got it right there. And if you have to resend it to yourself that says, oh, this was the one-on-one meeting, it's already got a date. The rep agreement is critical. It's also critical to do it each time because these records are going to keep you out of court. I have a very good friend who is probably the nicest man any of you have ever known. His name is Steve. Was a great sales manager, a benevolent, I think he was a sales VP or senior sales director when this happened, and got called into court. It was a very litigious rep who blamed all of his lack of performance on Steve. And everybody thought it was ridiculous. But guess what? Steve had all of his one-on-one notes. Boom, that guy was put down quickly. But he didn't count on it because most people don't have this. You gotta have the records. Here's another plea to keep the notes each time. When you have somebody who's trying really hard, but just not quite making it yet, and you need to do a performance mitigation, right? It might be a write-up, it might be a verbal warning, whatever it is you call it, you're basically documenting strike one because you can't afford to have strike 47 in the hamster wheel. It's really demotivating to somebody who cares a lot to get their first written agreement from you. Now, it's usually the performance issues that we've learned we have to document through HR, or it doesn't count. But if you've never documented a meeting before, and then a superstar who's having trouble at home gets an email that says, you and I agree that you're going to fix this and this and this by that time, or you're going to move to a write-up, they will cry and hate you. It's kind of fun on these one-way trainings where I don't get to see your faces, where you roll your eyes at me. They will cry and they will hate you and they will start looking for their next job. It's happened a billion times, okay? But if it's a habit that every time after we meet, you send an email, or better, they send an email, your to-do list stays empty, then it doesn't feel so shocking because it happens normally every time. Then if it gets to the point where it's a written warning or a final written warning or whatever your progression is, Of course, at that point, it's okay to be like, hey, you need to understand this is a big damn deal, and we're going to sign it on the paper copy, not just an email. It's okay when it gets there. But every once in a while, a great performer gets caught up in something that requires us to do that first step. And that's where you lose a great performer. All right, guys, a couple more tips for you. The whole reason we're doing this is to push at least half of the requests that you're getting into a meeting. So I've stolen this chart from our course called Own Your Day. It's part of the Bootcamp. It's called an Eisenhower matrix. And it teaches you for every single request that comes in, ask yourself 2 questions. Is it important? Is it urgent? And then the action you take on each tells you how to address it. Okay? When it's important, which means it's related to revenue, but it's not red hot right now, that's what we're scheduling and pushing into the calendar. Okay? That is almost all of the requests you're going to get from a rep. So we're also doing the same with this box down here. It might be urgent, but it's not that important. We're going to push that to someone else and delegate it if we can, or put it into a meeting. There's a lot to learn on this, and I don't have the time to dive in, but I do invite you to come and learn with us, because our goal is to reduce your incoming requests, whether it be standing at your desk, Slack, voicemail, email, smoke signals. Our goal is to reduce it 50% and get more time in your day. All right. So we're going to keep your calendar alive with the cadence. So I'm going to show you a copy of a calendar. What's wrong with this picture? No, you don't see it super, super close. It is an actual copy of one of my days. Luckily, I'm not a sales manager anymore. What's wrong with this calendar is there's absolutely no time for the requests, right? All day long, you have incoming requests. I want to reduce them by half. But if you're always in a meeting, the fires are just going to keep burning, right? And your team kind of disconnects from you because you're not there to help them. So this one's got too many. It's not just because there's not enough time for the team, but there's not enough time for you, okay? I want less than half of your day in meetings. That gives you the time for the request. It gives you time for the email. It gives you time to get off your butt and eat lunch or take a walk or do whatever you need to do for your own mental health and balance. Same issue here. What's wrong with this calendar? When I would do assessments of managers and leaders and look at their calendars, this was my clue that I had a rep who was just playing reactive, a manager all day long. This person is not organized, right? They're not running their days in meetings and in folders. They're playing whack-a-mole management. Pops up, whack it. Pops up, whack it. Firefighting, same thing. You want a healthy balance, about 50% of your day scheduled into meetings, which should push 50% of your requests in as well. And here's how you do it. Some tips for you. You can get these downloads in the Bootcamp, but you want to plan your day according to cycles, right? So start with your weeks. If you're on a monthly sales cadence, right, then week 1, I'm doing more of my performance one-on-ones and plannings. And week 4, I might be doing more of my deal strategies and trying to get stuff to close. Call coaching is going to go heavy in weeks 1, 2, and 3. But I'm dreaming if I think I'm going to call coach a top rep who's not at goal yet in month 4. You know how it works. So plan it according to the cyclicality of your world. The next step is just start slotting your meetings into AM and PM, right? Start by blocking some of these off. I never plan meetings for Monday mornings when everybody's trying to get back into the groove, or Friday afternoons where if you're doing great, you're done. Do you work better in the mornings? And that's when you need to be pumping up the team and you've got lower energy in the afternoons. And maybe that's when you need to be in the boring the one-on-one meetings. Then do that according to it. But start slotting meetings and people by day, AM, PM, right? No more than 2 in the morning, no more than 2 in the afternoon. You got this. Step 3 is often missed, and it's about communicating, okay? If you send a meeting out to somebody and don't tell them what it's for, they're going to freak out. What's going on? You might even talk to them about the fact that I've been taking this training on how to organize my days a little bit better, and I'll be implementing a management cadence. So pretty soon you're going to see some meetings come out from me, right? I wanted to let you know that that was what was happening. You'll probably have to tell them twice. I have 2 new employees and I booked meetings. This is about their 3rd week on the job. And I just wanted to see how they're doing and what I could do to help, right? Even though I told them that in the meeting and in the email and to their boss, they both called their boss immediately, freaking out. Why does she want to meet with me? Am I in trouble? It's human nature, okay? So over communicate what you're doing. Then you're going to send out your meeting invites. I super highly suggest you do it once if you haven't before you make them all recurring meetings, right? Come in on a Saturday, plan out all your meetings for next month. Do that 2 months until you see how it works. And pretty soon you're like, dang, I really need 30 minutes for a call coaching and 90 minutes for this or that. One last plea. Don't ever, if you can help it, at all humanly possible, cancel or no show for a meeting. If you make this great plan and your meetings are all booked and everybody's got 20 invites and you are on top of it, and a week later you just start no showing because you're trying to close deals for somebody, you're failing as a manager. It was harsh, but it was fair. I can't tell you how often I've heard that. How do you like it here? How's it going with your boss? Well, he reschedules every damn meeting we have. It sends a sign and it's not a good one. Please also notice in my mock meeting invite here that I've made it very clear what they are to bring to the meeting. So we're putting in the time, we're putting in the location, we're putting in the agenda, and we're putting in what they need to bring. Don't assume they know it, folks. Write down to the location. Can I tell you how often people are like, I don't even know where I'm supposed to go. Is this a Zoom? Are you calling me? Do I show up somewhere? Make it idiot proof. Why? Because then you get to relax a little bit. Organized. You're welcome. All right, here's the last tip, and it's most important. The requests will not stop just because you've organized them, okay? You've told them you're going to cover things in team meetings and these meetings and those meetings. You've sent the invites. They will still come to you with the exact same requests. It's your job to teach them how you will be managing your business. Here are some examples. This is a rep who comes up to you in person and says, oh my God, did you hear that call? I thought I could tell you were listening. He went on forever, didn't he? What should I have said when he asked about the, right? You know that you think it's going to be, oh, great job on the call. And 20 minutes later, you're still hearing the backstory, right? I suggest something like this. I did hear the call and you were fantastic. Let's listen to it in your call coaching. Make sure that you bring that call. Done. You're cutting them off kindly and pushing it to a meeting. Here's a phone example. Rep calls and says, hey buddy, what's up? Oh, I just want to let you know, I am going to have to take some vacation next month. I know I've been at the bottom half of this month and I don't want my performance review to take a hit or anything. And hey, hold on one second, okay? Why don't you go ahead and submit your request? Let's discuss it in our performance one-on-one at the beginning of the month. We'll look at your stats and we'll see where you stand. Okay? It is urgent to them. Doesn't mean it has to be urgent to you. And I don't mean ignore your people, folks. I really don't. You just got to pick your fires. Because you will not last in the job if you put them all out immediately. Not your job. Slack is the same. Hey, what's up? Oh, that account I was telling you about, I just got off the phone and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You Slack back in saying, sounds good. Please bring to our, and I can't remember if this one was call coaching or one-on-one, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Here's my 2 favorite lines. I like her face. Maybe smile while you do it. Okay. Hey, I thank you for calling. I only have 30 seconds right now, or I've got 30 minutes in our blank meeting next month, right? Hey boss, you got a second? I only literally have 30 seconds. I'm on a deadline or I've got a meeting starting, but I do have 30 minutes in our meeting. So it's always a thank you. You're important. Bring it to the meeting. Okay. You pick the meeting and tell them where to bring it to. They may or may not remember because frankly, half the time they're just looking for the attention, right? Quick attention, push to the meeting. I love this one too. Hey, I'm on a deadline. I've got 30 seconds right now, or hit me back in an hour if you still need help. This is critical because reps are like water, man. We all flow the path of least resistance. Sure, I could look it up or Google it or find the notebook or the training or Slack anybody else. But you're fast and easy and you usually answer me. So they will keep asking you if you keep telling them. So stop. On this one, we're saying, I can help you for 30 seconds. Or don't say, I'll hit you back. Give it to them. You hit me back. If you still need help in an hour, 50% won't. All right, guys. If you want to join me in the boot camp, this is how you do it. Prices are going up next month. This is important. They will double. Factor8.com/boot camp. Sales Management 101, a Sales Management 201, a call coaching boot camp. There are several. This class and Own Your Day are in the 101 boot camp. And yeah, we do have a discount code. Use promo code SMA to get $50 off, but only right away. Now, if you like this stuff and you love to dive in and learn, in addition to the boot camps, we've got 2 other downloads. Look on the webpage above where I'm playing right now, or copy these links down. Pardon me. These are from our Your Role as a Sales Leader course, also in the 101 Bootcamp. We're talking about activities to start and stop doing. This can help you get control of your day. And a little insight into what we look for in top sales managers as we're asked to go in and rank Salesforce. So sometimes that's just good stuff to have. If you're into self-development, enjoy those. Bob mentioned this at the beginning. I did found a new company 3 years ago called Girls Club. Once a year, we run a cohort. This is for folks identifying as female who are new to management or aspiring to management. It is a 6-month intensive certification program with sales management skills, mentoring, role models, awesome opportunities to shine in a spotlight. We have a 70% promotion rate before our 6 months are over, and we're proud to be a part of over 200 promotions to date. Our next cohort starts in April, and I think we have about 15 spots left in the cohort. So if you think that someday you might be ready for management, you feel like you're not 100% ready yet, that's when you come and apply with us, because we're going to get you the rest of the way. We are girlsclub.com/apply. And here's my contact info if you want to connect. I hope you'll find me on LinkedIn. And then here is email and our phone number and all of the websites. Bob, we did it. We landed the ship. We've got 3 minutes left. That was a lot, wasn't it?
Yes, and it was all great as usual, Lauren Bailey. Thank you very much. Really appreciate your insights and being with us today.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Well, I'll use what's remaining of those 3 minutes to just remind our audience before we leave of our next Sales Management Association presentation that will take place next week on Tuesday, February 22nd. We'll host a session at that time focused on changing the sales compensation plan, best practices, and pitfalls to avoid. So hope you can join us for that and many other events that you'll be able to see on our website under the events tab. Well, Lauren, thank you again for being with us.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
I hope
Look
to
forward to
see you
seeing
again
you in
soon.
June.
What's that?
I look forward to seeing you in June, face to face.
Indeed, we're looking forward to having our first event sometime. So that should be a great day. Well, I will with that say goodbye and thank everyone for your time and attention today. Goodbye until next time.